Good morning, everyone. This is Aaron. Welcome back to another video on Oracle Integration Cloud. Today, I wanted to show you how you can use OIC to invoke a BA Publisher report and then eventually transfer the output as a file to SFTP Server. Hey, if you're new here, welcome to the channel. My name is Aaron. I make videos on Oracle ERP Cloud, EPM, integrations, and analytics. If you want to see more videos on these topics, make sure to subscribe to the channel. So what we want to do today is to invoke a BA Publisher report, decode the output, then write it as a file to an SFTP server. All right, guys. So first, let's take a look at the process itself. So this is Oracle ERP Cloud or HCM Cloud or SCM Cloud. We have OIC. We're going to invoke the BI report. When we invoke the BI report, we're going to get a web service response. We're going to decode the data using the OIC integration process. Then we are going to write the data to the FTP server. All right. So based on this, we're going to need two connections. One to connect to the FTP server. So this is going to be an FTP adapter, FTP SFTP adapter. The second one is a SOAP adapter so that we can connect to Oracle ERP Cloud or HCM Cloud to invoke the BA Publisher report. All right, guys, let's go ahead and build the integration. Let me navigate to integrations and connections. So like I explained earlier, we're going to have two connections. One is going to be an FTP adapter. So I'm going to use an existing one that I created in my previous tutorial. So if you want to see how to set this up, make sure to check out the previous tutorial on transferring files between two SFTP or FTP servers. I'll leave a link to that video in the card above or leave a link to that in the description of the video. All right, so I'm going to use the existing one. All right, let's go ahead and create the SOAP adapter. That's what we're going to use to invoke the BA Publisher report. Click on Create. Search for SOAP, give it a name. The role, trigger, and invoke is fine. I'm going to first give the username and password. Then I'm going to copy the WSDL URL. So this is the WSDL URL. And this is the web service that we're going to use, external report WSS service. Right, let's click on save, test, validate and test. So you got a confirmation that everything seems to be working fine. So we are good. Click on save again, go back to connections. All right, so we're going to use this connection, the SOAP adapter, to invoke the BA Publisher report. We're going to use this FTP adapter connection to move the file or write the file to the FTP server. All right, let's go ahead and build the integration. So there are a couple of ways to building this integration. It can be either an app-driven orchestration or schedule orchestration. So I'm going to choose schedule orchestration. It's much easier for me to test it out and show you guys how it works. So click on select, give it a name. Right, if you want to, you can provide other details, but I'm just going to leave it at that and then click on create. Cool. All right, so if you have seen my previous videos, you know I'm not a big fan of the vertical layout, so I'm going to change the layout to horizontal. And right here, we're going to search for, it's a little buggy. First thing we want to do is to invoke the BA Publisher report. So we're going to use the SOAP adapter connection that we created, which is this one. All right, I'm going to just give it a name. Run BI report. Click on next. All right, so the web service has different methods of functions. What we are interested in is the run report method. So let's select that. Click on next. Accept attachments in response, click on next, and that's all we need to do. Click on done. All right, now to invoke the BA Publisher report, we have to provide certain details. So which report you want to run, what's the format, what's the template, what are the different parameters, etc., etc. All right, so let me show you the report itself. So this is the report that we're going to invoke, GLP read report. And you can see that it is a comma separated output format. So nothing crazy, just a simple report, no parameters in here. What we need to provide is the report absolute path. So the path to the report. So you can see the location here, and then we have to provide the name of the report. When you provide the name of the report, make sure to include .xdo extension. So let me show you that. So go to properties, copy this information. And let me open up Notepad. Right, then let's copy the name of the report. Keep it to /.xdr. Right, so this is the name of the report itself. So make sure to include .xdr. All right, we don't need /shared, so we're just gonna copy from /custom, copy that information. Let's go back to integration. Now edit the mapper, expand the body, run report, report request. So you can provide other details like the parameters, output path, all those kind of stuff, okay? But in our case, it's a pretty simple report. It's a comma separated report. There are no parameters. So I'm just going to show you how to include the report absolute path. And we need to set one other or pass another detail in the payload, which is the size of data chunk download. All right, so right click on report absolute path. Go into developer mode. So you can see I've provided the absolute path of the report within double quotes. Click on save, close it. The next thing that we want to provide to the payload is the size of data chunk download. So this is going to be -1. So click on save. All right, validate. Close. Let me enable tracking. Save. Save. Close. All right, so right now what we have done is we have we are trying to invoke the BA publisher report. We passed the report absolute path. So the integration itself should be able to invoke the BA publisher report. So let's go ahead and activate. I'm just going to save the schedule. Go back again, make sure this is activated. So it is active. So click on actions, go to schedule, then go to submit now. Okay, click on submit now. Let's wait for this to complete. If you want me to include a much more complex BA publisher report, which includes multiple parameters and multiple layouts, just let me know. I can create another video for you guys. All right, so it seems like it's completed. Let's go ahead and check it out. So go to monitoring, integrations. All right, so we have one which is succeeded. So let's click on that, then go to view details. I'm interested in the last message, so let's check that out. All right, so you're gonna pay attention to this report bytes. Now it might look like gibberish, but it is not. So let's copy that information from report bytes. So basically what happens is when you invoke the web service, it's gonna encode the data. The actual data is encoded in Base64 format, and that's what you see here. So there's a website called Base64 Decode.org. So you can paste that information in here, then click on decode, and you should see the report output here, just like what we saw here. It's going to show up that information here. So basically this information is decoded in this format. We just this information is encoded in this format, then we just decoded it, and that's what you see here. All right, so for us to write the file to the FTP server, we need to make sure that we decode that information before we write the file or write the data into the FTP server. All right, so we're gonna do one more step, and I want to show you how that looks. Then we'll go ahead and do the actual integration. All right, so let's go back to integrations, deactivate this. Cool. All right, I'm going to click on actions and select the assign action. Give it a name, Decode Data. Decoded data. Maybe create a variable. All right, give it a name. Go to add an expression, and in the components section, search for Base64. You should see a function called Decode Base64. And so what it says is the method decodes the input string, which is encoded previously using Base64 encoding scheme, and returns the decoded value, right? So let's try and use that. And in the function, we have to pass the encoded data, which is report byte. So let's do that, right? So we have the decode Base64 function. We are passing the report bytes, which is the Base64 encoded data. All right, close. Click on close. Save and close. All right, let's go on and activate this, run the integration, see how it looks. Baby steps. We're taking baby steps here. It's important for you to understand this process because the data is encoded, so you have to know how to decode that information in different ways. All right, let's go and submit the request. Let's wait for it to complete. Anytime now. All right, let's go to monitoring, integrations, and there you go. So we have two succeeded. The latest one is at the top, view details. You should see the message received by assignment decoded data. So let's check that message. And you should see the header information here and the data. So what this has done is it took the encoded data and then decoded it, and that's what you see here. All right. Okay, let's go back to the integration and then include the FTP adapter, write the data into the FTP server. I'm going to deactivate this. All right, what we're going to do is, so we have this information, decoded data, but to write the data, right, we have to write the data to the FTP server. And the FTP adapter, it is expecting a file reference, not the stream of data. It is expecting a file reference. So we cannot use this variable. Let's create one more variable. I'm going to say decoded data reference. Click on add an expression. Search for Base64. Here you're going to see one more function which is called decode Base64 to reference. All right. So this function accepts Base64 encoded string as the input. It decodes it and returns the reference to a file with the Base64 decoded value. So it's a temporary file and it generates a file reference to that temporary file. And that's what we're going to pass to the FTP adapter to write the data to the FTP server. Okay, so let's use that. We're still going to use the report bytes, which is the encoded data. Click on close. So you have two variables here. One is the decoded data output, and one is the decoded data reference. And this is the file reference, or the that we're going to pass to the write file method. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and add the FTP Adapter Connection. We're going to use error FTP connection. Give it a name. I'm going to say write BI data file. Next, binary. Select the operation as write file. We got to provide the input directory and the file name pattern. So for file name pattern, GL periods underscore seq.csv. So seq percentage seq percentage means it's going to generate a unique identifier every time you run this, so it doesn't overwrite the previously existing data file. All right, so let me select the directory. All right, so that's a directory where I want to write this file. Now, make sure you don't include quotes at the end like this. If you do that, it's not going to work. So make sure no quotes are included, or double quotes or single quotes, whatever. So just the absolute path to the directory in the server. Okay, that's all we need. Click on next. Oh, no PGP. We're not doing any PGP encryption or anything. Do you want to specify the structure? No, I don't want to, because it's already in comma separated format, so I don't want to specify the structure. Click next. Done. All right, now we have a mapper. So let's click the mapper or edit the mapper. Expand ICS file, and this is expecting a file reference. Now we have two variables. One is the decoded data output, which is not the right one to map, right? So we need the decoded data reference, which is a reference to the file. So we're going to use that to map it to the file reference. Validate. All right, close. All right, let me open up WinSCP so we can check out the data. All right, I'm going to go ahead and delete this. You guys see that I've been testing this to make sure I show you the right thing. All right, so let's go ahead and save, close. I'm going to activate the integration. Okay, let's go ahead and submit. Right, let's wait for the request to complete. Hopefully everything worked out. So you can see that we have the file that got generated, and the file looks like that. So everything seems to be working fine. All right. I want to show you one more thing before we conclude this tutorial. So let's go back to integrations. I'm going to deactivate this. Okay. All right. I'm going to edit the mapper. So here we're using the decoded data reference and mapping it to the file reference. We don't really have to have a separate action to do that. What we could do is look at the BI report response and go to run report return and look at the report bytes, right? So we can directly use this in the mapper and then decode it, create a reference, and we can pass that to the file reference. So let me show you that. All right, so what I'm going to do is toggle the functions. We're going to search for Base64. You're going to see the same function here, decode Base64 to reference, right? That's what we're going to use. So let's click on this information. So this is the current mapping. I'm going to delete this. Then drag and drop decode Base64 to reference. And to that function, I'm going to pass report bytes. Right? So make sure you use the decode Base64 to reference and not the decode Base64. We always need the reference when we are working with the write file operation for the FTP adapter. Okay. All right. So let's toggle the functions. So now, if I save this, we are taking the report bytes from the response right within the mapper. Then we are using the decode Base64 to reference function and creating a reference, passing it to the file reference for the write file method. All right, click on validate, close, save, close. Let's go ahead and activate submit one more time. I know it seems repetitive, but I'm just showing you different ways of doing this. All right, let's go ahead and click on schedule. Then submit now. All right, it's waiting. Running. It will take another 10 seconds. All right, let's go ahead and check the FTP server. You can see that a new file has been generated, and either methods work. So you can use a separate function or action to decode the encoded data and create a file reference. You can pass that in the mapper, or within the mapper itself, you can decode the encoded data and create a file reference. All right. All right, that's all I wanted to show you today. Hopefully this was helpful. Let me know in the comment section if you want to see another video showing you a much more complex BI Publisher report with passing parameters and selecting a different output format, template, etc. Now I'll leave links to a few of the articles that I've written on the web service itself, where I show you how to invoke the web service, how to pass parameters, how to select, and if the report itself has multiple templates or output templates, output format, I'll show you or explain how you can select a specific format or output format. All right. Yeah, so I'll be creating more videos in Oracle Integration Cloud. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and to see more videos on Oracle ERP Cloud, EPM, integrations, analytics, make sure to subscribe to the channel. All right. I'll talk to you all in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.